Remember last time we talked about vocabulary. Do you still remember that? And we said that if you want to understand what people are saying, or if you want to understand a text when you read it, you have to have some vocabulary. And this is why the last time we talked about how to build your vocabulary. And we say that it's very necessary because when you read a text, you need to know what the text is about. And the vocabulary can help you. If you want to talk to people, you need to use the right vocabulary. And if you want to understand what people are saying, you also need to have some vocabulary. Today we're going to talk about vocabulary, but a little bit differently. We're going to start by asking you a little question. Of course you like reading. You read texts, you read passages, and you read some articles in newspapers and magazines. Now, but when you read a text, do you find only simple, easy words in a text?
No.
No, of course. It means that sometimes you can find some difficult words in a text or in a passage. So, what do you do in this situation? When you find or when you come across a difficult word, or let's call it, I'm going to call it difficult or so, what do you do when you come across unfamiliar words? Do you A, do you ignore the words and go on with your reading? It means you don't pay attention to these difficult words and just continue reading.
No.
Do you do this?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
What is the problem if you do this? If you just forget about the word and just go on with the reading? So you are sure that sometimes you are going to miss some very important information in the text. And you are not going to understand the message of the text completely and fully. Right. Are you going to open your dictionary, turn to your dictionary and check up the words? Yes. And see what the word means? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Do you agree that the dictionary is a good way to explain words? But let me tell you one thing. For example, when you read a text, and let's say there are only a couple or three difficult words, so the dictionary can be practical, no problem. But suppose if in the text you come across, let's say, 20 or 30 new words, is it going to be practical to open your dictionary each time and check up the word and go back to the text?
No.
No, of course. So the problem, if you do this, if you turn to your dictionary many times, you are going to do what? You are going to kill the interest. It means you are not going to be interested in the text. You are just going to be interested in vocabulary. And there is another problem. Sometimes when you open a dictionary doesn't give you only one meaning of a word, yes or no?
Yes.
It can give you different meanings. So, are you sure that the meaning in the text is the same as in the dictionary?
No.
So that's the problem. So let me give you an example. Can you read this? Mass, yes or no?
Mass media shape our view of the world.
So this is the word I want you to put the emphasis on. What do you mean by mass media? Mass media, it means everything that is used for what? For communication. Communication with the public. For example, television is an example of mass media. What else?
Radio.
The radio, yes. The internet, it's an example. Magazines and newspapers. No, we say that mass media shape our view of the word. When you open your dictionary, this is what you find. A shape, for example, this is a shape. That's another. So these are what? These are shapes. And when you shape, it means you can make what? You can make a square or a rectangle or a circle or a trapezoid. So shape. But mass media shape. Do we need this meaning in the dictionary here? Do we have it? Look at the sentence. Mass media, our view, our opinion of the word. Does it mean that mass media makes squares and rectangles and circles of our views? So what, in your opinion, what does shape mean? So here,
different mass media.
excuse me?
The different mass media.
Let me show you another thing. So here, which is, in your opinion, which is very helpful to understand this sentence, this word? Is it to use the dictionary or to use the sentence itself? Are you going to, if you open the dictionary, it said, this is what you find. A shape. They say that shapes can be square or can be rectangle, and to shape means to make a shape like this. So, this is not practical, so I am going to concentrate on what? On the sentence itself. What can mass media do, to my opinion? For example, let me give you an example, a very simple example. Do you know donkeys, animals? A donkey. What do you think? What do most people think about donkeys? Are they intelligent or stupid? Yes, this is what most people think. They are stupid and they are lazy and they are good for nothing. But when you see a documentary on TV and they show you, for example, donkeys and how they work, for example, in the Atlas Mountains, and how they help people and how they transport the things and the people, are you going to change?
Your opinion.
That's right. So they change this documentary on TV. It changes your opinion. So mass media shape our view. What does it mean, shape? It means right. So here, shape our, because we have view. So what can mass media do to my view? It can only, so it can what? Influence or change. So you see here, this is what we call, when we try to understand the unfamiliar word from the sentence, we say that we use what here? We use the
Context.
right. We use the context. But what does the context mean? What is the context? It's very simple. The context, it's just the words which are before and after the what?
Unfamiliar.
If you have a difficult word, just try to look at the words before it and the words after this word, and this is what? This is your, you can have an idea about the context. Right. Now, when we say context, now of course we need some clear examples about this. This is why I have another example for you. He's a cautious driver. He never takes risks. So the word which is unfamiliar here is the word what? The word cautious. Now I want you to use the context, and I want you to tell me, what does cautious mean? Does it mean?
Careful. Careless.
Yes, Fatima Zahra. What do you think cautious mean? Does it mean he is careless, he is careful, or he is a happy driver? I want you to look what? Look at the context. Look at the sentence. He is a cautious driver. He never takes risks. So what could cautious mean in your opinion? Without using a dictionary. Yes, any suggestions?
Careful.
Yes, it means, yes, Radwan, tell me, how do you know that it's careful?
We have, he never takes a risk.
That's good. So, he never takes risks. It means this is, I am using what? I am using the context. He never, when a person is driving, and for example, he's driving in a straight line and he respects the speeds and he doesn't overtake any time, we say that this person is what? Cautious, or he is careful. You see here, now we have three possible meanings, but you chose this one. Erdogan, tell me, did you choose this just by chance like this? No, you choose it, and because you have what? Because you have
The context.
a context. So this is why when you have a sentence and a difficult word, I want you to do what? You are going to guess. You are going to guess. Guess unfamiliar words from what? From
context.
From context. So this is the topic of our lesson today, is how to guess unfamiliar vocabulary from context. But as Adwan said, you must make what? A smart guess. It means an intelligent guess. A smart, we say a what? A wise, an intelligent guess. What is an intelligent guess? It means you are going to, for example, you have a sentence here, and this is what helps you understand this. So I say, I am using what? This is an indication. This is my indication, or this is what? My clue. So anytime you have a new and familiar words, be sure that I'm talking to you, because a person who writes a text, we call him a writer or an author, he doesn't like to be unclear. He wants everybody to understand. He wants to, when a person writes, for example, a text, is he choosing only some people to understand his message?
No.
He wants everyone to understand. So, whenever he uses a new and difficult words, be sure that he gives you some what? Some indications or some clues to help you understand these words. But please, you should make a wise guess, not what? Not a wild. You know what a wild means? It means just what? By you just by chance you say, okay, it's this one. This is a bad idea. If you are reading, please, I want you to look for the indication, and then you can say that it means this or that. But no, before talking on, of course, we are going to talk about the context. But let me give you an example, and I want you to pay attention to it a little bit. Can you read the sentence? Energy
from the sun is renewable.
Yes, energy from the sun is renewable. Which word, in your opinion, is a little bit difficult to understand?
Renewable.
Right. So, renewable. Now, let me tell you one thing. Before you, of course, when there is a difficult word in a sentence, you should go to the context. But before going to the context, why don't you use just your eyes? There is something that jumps right away to your eyes. This is what we call what? You have to pay attention to the form. So before even looking at the context, if there is a difficult word, try to pay attention to its form. Is it going to help you a little bit understand it? For example here, renewable. Can anyone tell me what is the origin of this word?
Renewable.
Let's say that renewable is a little bit longer. I want something very short. What is the origin of this word? Look at the form. Now look, we have what? Re and new and able. Now of course, re, it's a group of letters which come before the word. So is it a prefix or a suffix?
Prefix.
Yes, right. So you see, this is a prefix. Able, it comes at the end, so it's a suffix. And you see, the origin of the word is just a small one, and you all know what new is, right? So this is what we call the origin, or this is the stem. This is my stem. This is the origin, okay? So, now let us go back to the word re. What does mean re?
To repeat.
Yes, something that is repeated, okay? Renew. Renewable, able. It means something that can be. Look, something that we can, renewable, it means something that we can, what? Energy from the sun. When we get our energy from the sun, do we get it only for one time more day?
No.
No, we can get it every day. So it means that renewable, it means something that we can use over and over again. And how did I discover this? By just looking at what?
The form.
At the form. So I understood just from the form because I have... So pay attention. Many English words, they are made by adding sometimes a prefix or a suffix. Let me give you a simple example. If you take the word help, can you extend it with some suffixes or prefixes? Can you make it bigger? Help. I want you to think of a suffix or a prefix.
He and prefix.
Yes. Can you add, let's say, can you add a suffix to help? So we can, for example, say what?
Helpful.
Helpful. And I can add here.
In help.
Yes, so you see, so the origin or the stem, it's very small and you already know it. But when I added a prefix and a suffix, it's a new word, but you can always understand it just from this one here, because this is the origin. Helpful, someone that full of help. Unhelpful, is it someone that helps or doesn't help?
Help.
Unhelpful.
Doesn't help.
Right, because here, and the prefix and, it means it's the opposite. So because here we have, what is the opposite? It's what?
Helpful.
Yes, unhelpful. Let me give you another example which I'm sure you saw last year. For example, this word. Homeless. What does homeless mean? Or let me ask you, how many words are there in homeless?
2.
Yes, you have home and what? Less. So what we say a person is homeless.
Who doesn't have a home?
Yes, because less, it means with or without. Someone without a house, without a shelter, we say he is homeless. Forget. Now, when you are writing, for example, an essay, I want you to think that prefixes and suffixes, they can help you create new words. Let me show you how. For example, here, I can write what? Forgettable. And I can add, for example, yes. For example, let's say you had a picnic in the forest and you enjoyed yourself. We say, I had an unforgettable day. It means the experience, I can't forget it. So you see, I start from what? I started just from forget. But I added some prefixes and suffixes, and look what I get. A completely new word. For some students, it may look unfamiliar, but it's not, because they are just playing on the form. Right. Now you understand now that prefixes and suffixes are very important in the form. Now, the second thing that I want you to pay attention to, we're still looking at the form. For example, if I write this. The industrialized words, okay? So, look at this long word. What is the origin of this word, the industrialized? Industrial, or look, we have here, this is the origin, it's
industry.
Industry. So you see, from the word industry, I can make new words. For example here, industrialized, industrial. So what do we call industrial? For example here we have industry, industrial, industrialized. What do we call this? These are, so we don't have here prefixes or suffixes, but we make new words from the original word. We say that, what are these? This is what we call a derivation. What is a derivation? We can make, for example, this is it an adjective or a noun? Industry.
No.
A noun. Okay, so this is a noun. So we can think about what could be the adjective of this. So industrial, it's not a noun, this is the what? The adjective. Industrialized, again, it's an adjective. But I can also have the verb to what? To industrialize. So you see here I have, you see that from one word I can create other words. I can create, for example, a noun, an adjective. For example, produce, it's a verb. Yes, what is the noun from produce? To produce, to, yes, here it's a production, okay? And the adjective, for example, productive. So you see, you already know, if you know production, so you understand that produce and productive, they are only derivations. They are only derivations or derivative of the word production. So pay attention. When you look at the form, the word, does it have a stem? Is it made of some prefix or suffix? The word, I'm talking about the unfamiliar word. This difficult word, is it a derivation of a word that you already know? Okay? And for example, in English, we can have this. For example, again, another one, door, doors. I want you to look at the endings of these words. For example, watches. Am I talking about present or past?
Present.
Present. How do you know? Because I have what? Let's say, because I have ES. ES, it means that this ending, when I have this ending, it means I am talking about the present.
ED.
ED, it's for what? Present or past?
Past.
This is for the past. And door, singular or plural?
Single.
Singular. How do you know that it's plural? Because of the S. So you see, but when you change the ending of some words, their job in the sentence, they can change. For example, if I say, he For example, if I say, he watched the match yesterday, am I going to use the first one or the second ending?
First one.
He watches.
He watch.
Watch.
So this is why I tell you, you have to be, because it's yesterday, I'm going to use the second one.
Watch.
You see that? So if I write watched, you understand that I am not talking about the present. But if I write watches, the meaning of the sentence is going to change completely. So pay attention to the form. This is what we call, so we have the form, we have the stem, prefix and suffix, and we have the, let's say this is the derivation. And C, you have to pay attention to what we call the, what do we call it? The inflection. The inflection, it means, it's very simple. Look at the end of the word. If you think that the ends of the words can change the meaning of the sentence, then you have to be careful. For example, certain words, verbs, they can change from present to past, or a singular words in a sentence, it doesn't have the same job as the plural one, because it has a different word, inflection. So look at the end of the words and pay attention to their endings.